The times, they are changing, people. Hey, what's going on, friends? Welcome back to the channel, to Football Therapy, with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, of course, the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about the Blues, giving you my opinion on it, more importantly, asking for yours. Things are certainly going to look very different next season with new owners coming in, with most of our defence going out, and a shake-up in midfield needed. As things stand, it does look like Todd, Boehly and Hansjorg Wyss are the favourites to take over Chelsea, to buy the club, and personally, I'd feel quite positively about that, but nothing's for certain yet. At time of recording, we're going to reflect on what's changing. Antonio Rudiger, is he going to go to Real Madrid? Who's going to be in our defence next season? And could it be okay? Etc. Settle in, get comfortable, and take a moment to listen to this. I'm so delighted to inform you guys that I'm still partnered up with Surfshark and I'm able to offer you an incredible deal. Take a second to learn about virtual private networks, although I'm sure most of you know what they are. In my opinion, VPNs are a necessity in the modern digital age. They offer you security, they offer you media expansion, they offer you just better browsing experience, like prevention of pop-ups coming up in certain cases, like my partner, Surfshark. Surfshark is the best VPN out there that I've found, so naturally I'm stoked that I'm partnered with them and I can give you a great deal. Surfshark is available on all devices and works by bouncing your IP address into different locations. This can offer you many things, not least security. You want protection in a digital age that's rife with fraud and identity theft. Surfshark can protect your details. And when I say your IP address bounces around, you choose the country where your IP address is. So if there's certain media that you've been locked out of from the country you live in, simply bounce your IP address to another location and that piece of media will become unlocked. It's like a magic spell, but technology. And similarly, if you've listened to me talk about Surfshark before, you'll know that I love using it on Netflix to bounce around to different countries' availabilities, if that makes sense. I'm always switching between UK and USA Netflix to see what they've got available. More shows, more content, more fun. It sounds overwhelming and techie, but it's not. It's super simple, and when you use my code FOOTBALL on Surfshark, you get a whopping 83% off and 3 months extra free. That's an incredible deal, man. Really affordable, and so much you get out of it. So do click the link in the top of the description to go check out Surfshark now. Use my code FOOTBALL to get 83% off and 3 months free, and mate, thank me later. Peace. Cool, thank you for checking out my sponsor, Surfshark. Right, now let's get into it. Starting off with the owners. Of course, there's 3 contenders left in potential buyers for Chelsea. The Todd Boehly consortium, the aforementioned Martin Broughton's consortium, and of course Pagliuca, who owns who owns Atalanta as well, and has some weird idea how he's going to sort of join the franchises together, which to me off the bat sounds like it would be problematic because of the both teams potentially playing in the Champions League, conflict of interest. You can't own 2 teams in one competition. It doesn't go down like that. So Martin Broughton, of course, has just brought in Lewis Hamilton and Serena Williams. Peculiar, I know. I, of course, reported on that a couple of videos ago. Feel free to go check that out. But as it stands, Todd Boehly was first in terms of the bidding, and maybe he'll win the race. In fact, he did try and buy Chelsea 4 years ago from Roman Abramovich when the club was not for sale, so the LA Dodgers part owner has had a plan in his head for a long time about buying Chelsea. If we look at his track records with running sports teams, he wants to win, he wants to spend, and he wants to use data. All of that kind of makes me feel like he's the guy for me. But as we all know, you don't know what's going to happen until you know, essentially. You can only make an educated opinion from what you see in front of you. And that's just my personal opinion. That's who I'd preference. But to be honest, ever since the Ricketts pulled out, I'd be optimistic about anyone who wins from this point. So Chelsea are going to have new owners. The new owners are going to not have any debt, which they'll be very, very happy about. 1.5 billion wiped away. And us as fans can remain happy because the deal is going to be a cash buy. Essentially what that means is it won't be like the Glazers buying Manchester United, a leveraged buyout where they use United's own money to buy them and then take dividends out or whatever. It's not going to be like that. It's going to protect the club, and we should all feel pretty grateful for that. But it's not all sunshine and flowers at the moment, friends. As we know, Andreas Christensen is out the door. Now, people might split their opinions on that, whether they think it's good or not. Thiago Silva is going to be 38 next season, which is mad. No matter how good he is, there's got to be a drop-off, and probably soon, being realistic. And I'm sure you've all seen the papers and the news that Antonio Rudiger has reportedly agreed terms with Real Madrid for a free transfer next season. Now, these reports are coming from Spain, so everything has to be taken with a pinch of salt. But to be honest, guys, genuinely, I would have thought he would have agreed a deal by now anyway. It doesn't mean he's definitely going to the club, and as things stand, Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that no deal has been signed. Terms have been agreed. When you're a free transfer, your stock's really high, you have the ability to go and play for the biggest clubs in the world and earn a lot of money. And on top of that, despite wanting to stay at Chelsea, Chelsea is sanctioned. The future is unknown with Chelsea. Of course he's going to talk to other clubs. He's already spoken to, PSG, Barcelona, etc. And it looks like he's agreed terms with Real Madrid. People freaking out and blaming Marina Granovskaya and Chelsea for not offering him a deal. Pause. Chelsea is sanctioned. Chelsea are not allowed to offer Antonio Rudiger a deal. You could argue Chelsea should have got the deal wrapped up sooner before they were sanctioned. True, but Chelsea were also, doing what they do in negotiations, waiting for the moment, probably with the intention of re-signing Antonio Rudiger. And do you know what is testament to that? Chelsea manager Thomas Tuchel always remained confident that Antonio Rudiger was going to stay. He maintained that stance for months and months. Also, you've got interviews with Antonio Rudiger saying, yeah, I want to stay at Chelsea. My kids are born in England, this is where their life is. And clearly Rudiger loves Chelsea. He loves the fans. He loves how his teammates around him has made him a better player. Most importantly, he loves Thomas Tuchel. Rudiger's only been at this level for a year? 18 months at a push? Chelsea fans were never really enamoured with Rudiger, especially in the back two. So maybe Rudiger recognises all of this with Thomas Tuchel and probably wants to stay, but at the end of the day, if he gets offered a 4-year deal at ridiculous money, playing for Real Madrid, probably going to win La Liga titles, he will agree terms. But it's not signed yet, it doesn't mean it's done. He could still stay when the sanctions are lifted and Chelsea do officially offer him new terms. He can make a choice. You can accept 2 terms before you sign. But assuming the worst, Rudiger leaves to Real Madrid. Andreas Christensen leaves to Barcelona. They'll be facing each other in the Clásico next season, which is a peculiar turn of events. We know Cesar Azpilicueta is likely to stay as Chelsea have triggered his 1-year extension. And if you listen to what Thomas Tuchel had to say about that, he was pretty much like, yes, he's our captain, he's important. It's a very, very high chance he's going to be here next season. So where are we with centre-backs? Well, Thiago Silva, Azpilicueta / Reece James at right centre-back, Trevoh Chalobah still leaves us short. Now, step forward, Levi Colwill. Yet another Chelsea Academy prospect, well, not even a prospect anymore, great football player, great defender, playing down in the Championship on loan and excelling, much like Tomori did, much like Mason Mount did, much like Reece James did, etc, etc. Conor Gallagher as well. It's the rite of passage for these young superstars that all look like they could play in the Chelsea first team, and Colwill is no different. You'd assume Thomas Tuchel is keeping a close eye on him. Certainly people would be coming up to him within his staff saying, this guy's really good, we're going to need defenders, he could be the next sort of Trevoh Chalobah. Even if he's not necessarily starting next season, it's just more cover. On top of Colwill, there is of course Jules Kounde. Now, in terms of new signings, like actual transfers, if you said to me what's the most likely in the summer, or if you said to anyone who follows Chelsea, probably everyone would say Jules Kounde. Because the deal was agreed last summer, and in fact the player was very upset it didn't go through, and he voiced that. He didn't turn up to a couple of Sevilla games, he did an interview saying he was upset when his deal to Chelsea fell through. He had agreed personal terms of Chelsea. He wanted to join Chelsea. In fact, Chelsea and Sevilla agreed a transfer fee for the defender. It was Sevilla that suddenly changed their mind and made it more expensive. They moved the proverbial goalpost. Now, I've said on the channel before, I kind of theorised how that might be because Chelsea then sold Kurt Zouma to West Ham. Sevilla saw Chelsea were down a defender and they thought, ooh, not only have they just made 30 million for Zouma, they're down a defender, perfect opportunity for us to crank up the price. But Chelsea went, no, you're not taking us for a ride, you're not changing the price, we just won't buy him then. Fortunately for Chelsea, Trevoh Chalobah ascended into the first team under Tuchel and signed a new long-term deal, which is great, positive news, but it still leaves us short, especially if two Champions League final playing defenders in Christensen and Rudiger are gone out the door. But it gives us an opportunity. Jules Kounde is very young. Of course, Levi Colwill is very young. Trevoh Chalobah is really young. And they could all learn from Cesar Azpilicueta and Thiago Silva. And of course, Thomas Tuchel really does like Reece James in the right centre-back position. I'm sort of a bit frustrated with that because he's so good going forwards and he can light up and dominate an entire flank at wing-back. Hopefully he still plays a lot of wing-back, but it's just another option for Thomas Tuchel to play at right centre-back. So a young, transformative, defensive shift. At the end of the day, Christensen's still mid-20s pushing into his mid-late 20s. In his prime, I know. Rudiger is going to be 28, 29. Colwill and Kounde are both young. So this is another opportunity for players around the same age profile of Reece James, Mason Mount, Kai Havertz to grow together, to develop together, to create a dynasty, an incredible, golden age of Chelsea superstars. Why not? So the defence will have to be transformed and developed, and there's opportunity there with the aforementioned players. And of course, it's no done thing that Antonio Rudiger is officially out the door, but emotionally prepare yourself for it. And of course, there is the midfield, something we've discussed before. Kante's not been at his best, neither has Jorginho, and I think maybe the profile of player will have to change ever so slightly. We can talk about Declan Rice, we can talk about Aurélien Tchouameni. Tchouameni looks like he might be going to Real Madrid as well. They're ruining our lives, especially after eliminating us from the Champions League. But interestingly with Declan Rice, he's just rejected a third contract offer from West Ham. He is not re-signing for West Ham. He loves them, he kisses the badge, he's having an amazing time in the Europa League. He wants to go to a Chelsea, a Man United, preferably Chelsea, like I said in previous videos. We'll see what happens in the midfield. Of course, there's Ampadu, Billy Gilmour, Gallagher, all these loanees that the coach in Thomas Tuchel could consider to develop moving forward, if he thinks they're appropriate for the midfield. When it comes to strikers, Armando Broja is an option to bring back. The Lukaku, we're not going to get into it now, we speak about it quite a lot often. If Chelsea could sell him, they will almost certainly have to sell him. And I do still think Chelsea will look for a wide forward, a winger, a sort of, attacking sort of mid, whether it's an N'Golo, whether it's an Ousmane Dembele, someone to sort of play and float around, because that's what works for Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea in terms of attack. Anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know, comment down below, let's start up the conversation and let's talk about the new Chelsea 2.0, the redevelopment of the Blues. Start up the conversation. Do go check out Surfshark now for that amazing deal by clicking the link in the top of the description. It's a great deal, friends. Other than that, I'm out. Enjoy the football, and I'll see you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.